Bill Gates' ability and hard work are obvious when individuals tell you his inspirational story, but some of his tales are never told. Was it possible that even if you were as talented and industrious as Bill Gates, you would not have succeeded? Why am I saying? Come, investigate. Bill Gates' childhood. Seattle, 1967. Bill, an 8th grader, obtains a computer. This was no ordinary computer. The teletype model 33 ASR was connected to GE computers over phone lines. This astonished young Bill. Computer capabilities. Bill spent hours figuring out the computer. He wrote his first computer program. Bill Gates became the world's richest man years later. He was the richest for 20 years. His $124 billion wealth makes him the 4th richest. Start at the beginning. Bill Gates attended Lakeside School at 12, Seattle private school. Some of his schoolmates loved computers too. Bill Gates' first best pal, Kent Evans, Paul Allen, 10th grade, and Rick Wyland. 4 formed the Lakeside Programmers Group. He tried ways to utilize the computer outside of school. Computer Center Corporation was a small Seattle firm. You may rent computers by the hour. Bill and his buddies started using the computers here a year later, in 1968. It was expensive, though. This shop charged $40 for an hour of computer use. Bill and his friends began searching for CCCOS bugs. They tried to exploit computer system flaws for additional computer time. After being caught, the store banned them. Bill Gates' first job. However, one little company considered using these kids to find system flaws next summer. They promised to use the computers for free if they maintained finding system issues. Bill Gates learned numerous programming languages here. Fortran, Lisp. This modest store closed soon. Information Sciences Inc. employee. Again, these youngsters had no computer access. They found a Portland company, Information Sciences Inc. They could use their computers for free if they built a program for this company. A payroll programmer taught them about taxes and payrolls. In 1971, Bill Gates and his best friend Kent Evans were asked to write a school program after their school noticed their talents. Program class schedules were required. They worked hard on the program, but Kent Evans died after sliding down a cliff on a weekend holiday in the hills. Bill was stunned by the crash, but he kept working. He collaborated with his friend Paul Allen. He was in college then. Corporate job, Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Trafo Data in 1972. They liked tech and business. They sought to create a road traffic processing program to sell to the traffic department. Their efforts failed despite their best efforts. High school graduation followed in 1973 for Bill Gates. His SAT scores are excellent, 1590, 1600. This gets him into Harvard, a top American university. Paul was tired of university classes by then. He came to Boston to work for Honeywell. He suggested Bill join him at Honeywell. Both worked for Honeywell in 1974. Paul came and found a popular electronics magazine stall while traveling. The magazine cover featured the Altair 8800, world's first PC. It was Intel 8080 powered. Paul ran to show Bill Gates the magazine he bought. For years, Paul has tried to convince Bill Gates that computer chips are shrinking rapidly, while their speed and power grew dramatically. Soon, a personal computer would be constructed. The magazine's main page featured a live example. Someone built the computer before Gates and Paul. Foundation of Microsoft. MIT made this computer. Paul and Bill called the company to offer to create software. BASIC was the most popular programming language. Therefore, they wanted to build basic computer software. Bill quit Harvard and Paul moved. Altair bought their BASIC model. The company liked Paul's work and offered him a job, but he was already running his consultancy. Microsoft. Later, it became Microsoft. Japanese business Texas Instruments gave them multiple contracts. Microsoft's first big break was providing IBM computers DOS OS. Microsoft was developing a new OS. In November 1983, they introduced their OS. Windows 1.0 Microsoft's IPO was in March 1986, with Goldman Sachs as book-running manager. The IPO cost $21 per share. Their stock reached $28 after 1 day of trade. They never looked back since. Microsoft became quite successful. Launch of Windows 98. As we know, their software and computers were successful worldwide. You may find this story inspiring. A smart, hard-working youngster with a desire. Now consider reality. Consider dropping out of college to pursue his goal and develop a great firm. This youngster becomes the richest worldly man. A motivational story? A tale of inspiration. If Bill Gates can, why can't you? However, as I mentioned at the start, our story has a twist. It's what? Privileged twist. How privileged was Bill Gates? Let me define points. You'll see that even if you were as talented and hard-working as Bill Gates, you couldn't have been as successful. Why? Come, check it. Bill Gates's first secret. No way if Bill Gates were a woman, because the 1960s saw widespread US gender discrimination. Did you know that in the 1960s, banks could deny women credit cards? Even married women needed their husbands' signatures. Many US states barred women from juries. In 1961, the US Supreme Court upheld a Florida law excluding women jurors. Women couldn't take birth control tablets until the 1972 US ruling. The 1963 Kennedy Commission on the Status of Women stated that women receive 59 cents for every dollar males earn for the same job and work. US law banning gender discrimination against women was passed in 1964. Perhaps more importantly, most Ivy League universities excluded women in the 1960s. Harvard's library didn't admit women until 1967. The male-to-female ratio was 4.1 until 1979. Women needed 4 times the intelligence of men to get into the same university. Harvard's female sister institution was Radcliffe. Female students were denied the same advantages as male pupils. After its 1989 closure, a joint Harvard school was established with equal admittance for men and women. Bill Gates's second secret. The second secret, Bill Gates being black would have prevented it. Before the 1964 Civil Rights Act, blacks couldn't enter restaurants, cinemas, churches, or schools. Even on buses, they had to sit in corners while whites got priority. Several southern states banned minority voting. In 1968, as Bill Gates and Paul Allen were working on their computers at the Computer Center Corporation, Martin Luther King was killed for advocating for minority rights. Black rights riots occurred during the 1960s. Race discrimination. Bill Gates' third secret. Bill Gates was foreign-born, or in another US city. It may have been impossible. Bill and Paul lived in a developed nation and city. If Bill Gates had been born in India, he may not have seen a computer until 30, because India adopted computers mass scale after 1985. Even in America, Seattle was a computing powerhouse. Computers arrived in this city in the 1960s. The programming language BASIC was invented here. Bill and Paul used one of the first commercial computers in the country at the CCC store. Bill Gates's fourth secret. The fourth is that not all Seattleites had computers, so don't get your hopes up if you were a white male. Bill and Paul attended elite private schools. Lakeside School was out of reach for middle-class families. They had computers and a decent education at the school. Bill Gates first used computers in 1965, when America had 22,000 computers. The US population was 200 million. Fifth secret, Bill Gates. The fifth is parental influence. Ken Allen, Paul's father, was the University of Washington Library Associate Director. With this, Paul could access the books on computers. The university's board included Bill Gates's parents. After the CCC store went bankrupt, Paul and Bill asked their parents for help. and obtained access to Roberts Hall's graduate computing facility. They used several computers. The first computer game of their lives appeared here. Paul and Bill benefited from their parents' help. Paul later created a library and computer center, named after his father. Bill Gates also benefited from his father's career. Lawyer father of Bill Gates. Registrating Microsoft, finding a place, employing staff, and fighting Altair would have been tough for a regular man. But Bill Gates' father was a lawyer, so he got legal help. Similarly, not everyone can afford college dropout. Bill and Paul have family wealth to spare. Our story also involves Monty Davidoff. When Paul and Bill were writing Altair's basic program, Monty wrote a vital section. After Paul and Bill offered Monty a permanent job at Microsoft, Monty declined to quit college. He explained he couldn't risk that much because his father owned a modest hardware store. He needed a college degree. Thus, it is crucial. Not everyone can afford college dropout. Microsoft's first DOS program and privilege. Microsoft's IBM contract marked a turning point. Before then, Microsoft was little. But how did they get this contract? Its tale is intriguing. The IBM chair was John Opel. He was on the United Way board. This organization's board included Mary Maxwell Gates, mother of Bill Gates. She told Opel about Microsoft. Big firm Digital Research competed with Microsoft, many times larger than Microsoft. IBM negotiated poorly with it. When Mary suggested Microsoft, IBM's chairman gave it a chance. This opportunity was crucial for Microsoft. Mary Gates on the board may have prevented this opportunity. One other twist, friends, involves IBM's deal. Microsoft had no software to market when it signed with IBM. Another company, Seattle Computer Products, used Q-DOS. Anyway, these rights allowed Bill Gates and Paul Allen to succeed. Bill Gates may not have succeeded without talent and hard effort. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment below to let us know what you think.